trade something. They call it like trading. It's not worth it. And also because like memory is going up in price. So you should. Not worth it. And also because like memory is.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Let's bump this up. And now we should be live on the live stream as well. So, hello and welcome to our Wednesday's meetup, which is named Know Enough AI to be Dangerous. What do we mean by that? We meet here every week to basically share the news. What is new, what is old, what techniques are new, what techniques are old, some useful, maybe interesting programs and repositories. And I try to dabble a little bit into the hardware and open weight models. My name is Martin, I'm gonna be your host. For those who don't know me, I've been doing these meetups for like a year now. I just wanted to have a place to talk to people who are also in the AI world and are passionate about the things that I'm passionate about. So without further ado, the format of today will be very simple. We'll go through the news of the week, and after that, we'll basically split into smaller groups and talk about the things that we do with AI and how can we help each other just, be more efficient. So let's start. What we are going to cover this week, there are some notable things that happened in the last week. I would say that this is one of the eventful weeks that we are covering. Google Genie 3 plus Street View. It's very interesting. It's basically an open world engine that is achieving incredible results. 24 FPS, you can basically play a game in the real world. DeepSeek V4 Pro, permanent 75% off. I mean, I don't know how to think about that. It's not a permanent discount rather than repricing of the model. They recently struck a deal. They raised, I think, $10 billion US. So they are going to continue subsidizing the use of DeepSeek V4. But we like DeepSeek team. It's actually advancing the area of AI in a very meaningful manner in terms of how to train, how to post-train, how to work with the models. It is 34 times cheaper than the frontier models from the Western labs. What can we use it for? Like, we'll cover that as well. One of them is DeepSeek Reasonix. It's basically your Claude Code, your codex. Hello, welcome. It's your Claude Code, your codex for the DeepSeek era. It's an open source project and it's very cool. However, you have to use it through the API. OpenAI disproves 80-year-old math belief, which is an actual math problem that was there and they cracked it. Now, this is kind of big news because it means that AI actually is good at math apart from benchmarking. Because everybody always boasts about benchmarks, but in reality, meh. Pope Leo joins Anthropic. That's the crazy side of the news. I don't know what's my stance on it. In general, I would be very eager to hear yours. But Pope Leo joins Anthropic to basically make ethical AI a reality. Whether that's good or bad, who knows? Mixing the technology with religion, it's kind of sus. Layoffs, we covered quite a lot of layoffs last week, and the wave continues, this time from Meta, where Zuckerberg himself is claiming that pretty much every complicated and complex project that usually took a team of 50, now a highly motivated individual with unlimited AI credits can do. Whether that's good or bad, who knows? That's one of the subjects that Pope basically got acquired or acqui-hired on, how to make sure that we are not losing so many jobs with this AI era. There is also Atlas, which if you're familiar with robotics, it's an AI robot that is actually meant to replace physical jobs. And they did a very funny training algorithm. They made him lift 50 kilograms or like 100 pounds, which is quite significant for robotics, and to be able to adjust the various weight of the burden of the item. That's something that is really cool because it wasn't even trained to be able to do that. It is something that came out of the previous training, which was capped, I think, at like 50 pounds. Hyundai actually wants to start hiring them. ByteDance Lens. This is a very interesting one, and I've actually downloaded it locally so I can demonstrate it. Pretty much everyone who has, let's say, M4 MacBook can run this model, and you can do image generation locally in your browser. It's a new generation of models that are called, it's going to be in the presentation, like tertiary, I think. It's basically 1-bit models that were specifically post-trained to be 1-bit models. So they're good. The result of it being 1-bit is not by quantization, so cutting the capability, but it was developed to be this, which is something novel. Like you can run it on your phone and it will be good. It's meant for edge computing, and it's meant to basically help you in your day-to-day. There is a text model as well, but we're going to take a look at the image one. Microsoft Trellis 2. I haven't played with it yet, but apparently you can generate the 3D model out of nothing, out of thin air. But yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. And some of the trending repos and funny news. There's a Chinese company, Chinese startup, PettyChat, which basically claims that they're using AI to identify the sound your animal makes, and over time they assign what does it actually mean, and they start translating animal sounds into human speech. It costs like $100 to get this collar that makes your animal speak. It's like really unhinged, but if true, crazy. Robot barbers in China, and some of the interesting GitHub repos to take a look at. So let's start. Google, our favorite corporate overlords, and soon to be X search engine, basically took all of the photos over the years that they've collected them with Street View, and they recreated the world. So that's pretty much it. Like, that's the bit of news. 280 billion images, if I'm not mistaken, got chucked into one engine. And when you name a place or some sort of address, you can apply a filter. Let's say you want to be in Chiang Mai, but in 1920. So it recreates the world that is traversable. You can physically move in that world. That's why it's called a world engine. You can physically move in that 3D world. The physics are not quite there yet, so it's mostly just placement of the individual images that were regenerated through this world model. But it's currently at a stage where it's able to generate up to 1 minute at 24 FPS, which is pretty insane when you think about it. The applications for something like this, especially in the new era of gaming, which will be pretty much all AI powered, are going to be insane. Also, and again, I'm just gonna keep reiterating and repeating myself, one of the best angles that you can take right now, if you are building an app or a wrapper or something around these up-and-coming models and up-and-coming infrastructure, is to go into education, in a sense that you start generating immersive education materials. They can be gamified, don't have to be gamified, but that is literally one of the best applications that solves for two issues at the same time. A is ease of work for teachers. If they have a pre-prepared curriculum around the books that they're actually in their like prepared vocabulary, I think it's called, syllabus, then you are actually making their jobs easier, whilst you are also solving for the problem of lack of attention span. Kids nowadays, they can like hold attention to something that is a spoken word for a very, very, very short time. But if they have moving images on the screen, like that's gonna be much easier. I mean, even I should adopt that, to be honest. would be a little bit more immersive than just these slides and presentations. But yeah, Genie 3, you can use it if you have AI Ultra, a $200 plan from Google. For now, only US locations, but very soon they're going to be rolled out worldwide. It is not geo-locked in a sense that you have to be from US to use it, but it is locked towards locations in the US. And yeah, so estimate 6 to 12 months to actually get some physics and some physics engine inside of it. And at that stage, that's going to be really, really, really crazy. What is in
What's the difference between the physics engine and what it's now?
Well, think about it from a perspective when you see stuff, you don't really understand that this object has some weight. You have to touch it, right? So a physics engine in this world means that you will be able to interact with things. Right now you can go around things, you can see things, like you have the world around you, but any object placed into that world would need a physics engine. So there are two ways to do that. A, you can build a physics engine into the model itself. Therefore, if you are walking across the streets of Chiang Mai and you bump into someone, that bump will feel physical and the person will flinch. Or you can take this open world model, use it to generate the surroundings, and then place the game engine inside, which will actually dictate the physics of the interactive elements of the thing.
Also the scenario, the buildings themselves probably just show us big blobs of sprites that you cannot put a door inside of it or something like this, or even windows. So I think it's just one big thing. As in comparison in games, you want it to be different things that you can remove, relocate, interact with, etc.
A cool part about this is that it already works with Waymo, and they're using Genie 3 to train robots, robotaxi, and specifically on rare scenarios. So they're trying to basically say, oh, if there is a traffic accident, how do I navigate that? Instead of them actually putting the robot taxis into traffic accidents, they're generating these scenarios as if they would happen, and then they calibrate the LiDARs and all of that tech gizmo that they have. Because robot taxis are cool, and I actually want them to be in our future. But like, I wouldn't trust myself to sit down in one right now, to be honest, because they're just crazy, and especially Waymo. If you've seen the videos of Waymos, absolutely mental. I would not sit there. Yo, DeepSeek. They basically made the ultra cheap AI permanent. The expiration date that a lot of people were worried about, May 31st, is actually an expiration date for, hello, welcome. It's an expiration date for plenty of subsidized programs, your codecs, W usage. I think even Claude had 2x, but that's only until the end of this month. DeepSeek also, they didn't know what's going to happen, but they raised $10 billion, and they're like, okay, why not? Let's make this permanent. And what does permanent mean? Keep in mind, this is for V4 Pro. Like generally, when we're talking about DeepSeek, the most usable thing from them is the V4 Flash, which is a much smaller model, but it also has limited capability. It's the Flash family. It is fast, it is small. You can pretty much run a similar model on your hardware. But with V4 Pro, grab the API key, and at a cost of 87 cents per million tokens, it's ridiculously cheap. If it gets you 95% or 90% of the way there compared to GPT 5.5, theoretically, you're at 5.4 levels. So, I mean, who cares? And you're spending like nothing to actually waste a million tokens of output. That's nothing. Cache hit is at 0.003 per million. which is also absolutely crazy and ridiculous. What does caching means is basically when you have an agentic flow, everything that you append, your new prompt, is the higher price. Everything that was there before is the cache price. So it is cheap. It is ridiculously cheap. It is literally the lowest price that you can pay for a frontier model. And honestly, just give it a go. I know it's a Chinese model and there is a lot of stigma. There are some providers, inference providers that you can get through OpenRouter that specifically have like, oh, we are not admitting the data towards China. We are not doing this, we're not doing that. So when you do a little bit of research into it, you can actually get this model hosted on Western servers or servers in Singapore. Absolutely no problem, absolutely cheap. Give it a go. If you're running Hermes, OpenClaw, etc., 100% is going to make your bill way, way, way cheaper. They do have novel hybrid attention, and this was their contribution towards general LLM space. Basically, they're trying to, this is a little bit more technical, but in a mixture of experts model, you basically have one router and you activate only a certain amount of parameters. With a hybrid attention, the number can shift. It can go from, let's say, 3 billion to 30 billion. It's absolutely crazy, absolutely novel, and it actually makes the model way more performant and cheaper. There is very little extra training that needs to be done in order for this to be actually feasible and usable. So if you've never had interaction with DeepSeek, you can grab a very cheap API key directly from them, or there are like plethora of resellers that will actually help you get all the way there. Reasonix. This is also one of the repos that we'll touch upon. It's a DeepSeek native terminal for coding. So think of it as the native Claude code or Codex CLI. This is probably the best thing that you can get for DeepSeek. It is specifically tuned or purposefully made so it works the best with DeepSeek, and the caching in this is absolutely crazy. As far as I know, you can't really put any other model in that, but even with what is there, if you can hit 99.82% of cache, which is quite a feat, to be honest, you can get your coding going really fast and really cheap, for lack of the better word. Yeah, if you also want to go even cheaper, Flash is at 14 cents and 28 cents per million tokens, which is like 100x cheaper than GPT 5.5.
Is it smart like Cloud Code?
It is considerably there. When you think about, and this is a thing with DeepSeek models, yes, they are, but it depends on the task. Currently, if you want to run something for 10 hours or a full day, you set out a goal, there's a bunch of documents in your folder and a bunch of work that needs to be done, either sequentially or through swarm of agents. 100% the only thing that will get you there is OpenAI and Anthropic. If you have something that needs to run for, let's say, 4 hours, go DeepSeek. If you have one-off things, it's roughly the same. So if you go prompt, execution, results, then you evaluate, absolutely DeepSeek, no problem. But if you need something to keep looping and keep cycling, then I would say you still have to, you kind of have to go with OpenAI or Anthropic. OpenAI, they solved the math problem. So their internal general purpose reasoning model, which is not a math specific system, autonomously disproved the conjecture posed by Paul Erdos in 1946 about the unit distance problem in discrete geometry. Now, I don't know if you want to go deep into this subject. It is something that basically they claim they've solved like 7 months ago, but it basically finally happened. The thing to take out from this, if you want to nerd out about math, let me know. But the thing that we need to address is what happens with Anthropic and OpenAI and all of these major labs time and time again. We made the best model. It cracked the entire world's software. Oh no, we made a better model, which will absolutely make obsolete these jobs and professions. Oh no, we made a better model. It's so dangerous we can't release it. They spew a lot of crap all the time. You have to keep in mind that even researchers at these labs, they're just regular dudes and gals like us. 7 months ago, they were like, oh my God, we solved 10 of these problems. Just because they never seen them before. And the AI came back and like, oh, I solved this. The fuck you did? You went online and you actually found a solution somewhere. On some obscure website, on some obscure blog. Not solving the issue. That's just bringing the information. That's just a search engine. So every single marketing claim that they do, let's take it with a grain of salt. The world is not ending. AI is going to shift the world a little bit, but there is so much more to the world and to professions and economy and everything else than a hyperinflated stock market and claims that they have to do in order to appease their investors, so they keep shoveling money their way. So 7 months later, they actually came with the proof. Meanwhile, 7 months ago, they're like, oh, it's done. 10 of them solved. Fuck no. Okay, back to something else. Pope Leo joined Anthropic because they apparently, and I don't know if it's covered here, but yeah, there is a real possibility that AI will displace human labor at a very large scale. So Pope, as one of the more influential speakers of the world, joined Anthropic to basically make sure that this shift, this transition, happens as ethically as possible.
And
Now,
the Catholic Church.
and it won't affect Catholic Church, of course. I mean, not gonna lie, if you want to like generate the sermon, I can absolutely guarantee you, and regardless of a religion, that at least 50% of sermons nowadays are being AI generated. It doesn't matter what religion it is, honestly. It's just a human laziness. And I'm not saying everybody is, but 100% there is a huge chunk of people who just don't care and just ChatGPT, make me a sermon, make me something. So our laziness will eventually lead to this sort of a downfall. That's inevitable. But if we can find a pathway that will lead to new and better jobs, or some other areas that we can move forward in, I mean, that's partially why he joined and what he wants to explore, as far as I know. So yeah, 78% chance that AI is the number one reason for job cuts in May 2026. So yeah. On the topic of job cuts and who it actually touches, Meta cuts 16,000 people. That's like 20% of their workforce. So they doubled on the AI spend, but Zaki Boy said that, yeah, project can basically be finished by a single very motivated person. Whilst true, I do disagree with that, because it always comes down to the ownership of the decisions. And no matter how much we tried, at least here locally, we never could have gotten to an actual bulletproof ownership of a decision of an AI. No matter how many layers we put on top, how many observations, how many checks, this and that, it always came down to, okay, if you're shipping, you're doing that for a client. If it sucks, you are on the hook. So I don't know how they're going to granulate work nowadays, but to put one person in charge of a massive project, it's kind of risky. So let's see if this sticks, because a lot of companies have laid off a lot of workforce that they had to rehire, because you just, like, the AI is not a magic wand. You have to properly embed it into your company culture. But yeah, this is more worrying. Boston Dynamics and their Atlas robots, it's what we have in the West. Like in China, there are so many companies already doing that. From reference animations and millions of GPU parallel reinforcement learning hours and domain randomization of weight, friction, and grip, they basically started training on 50 to 70 pound loads, and the generalized 100 pound and higher loads of the robot actually grabbing something, moving it with precision, was achieved without any retraining. So it basically just emerged from that original training. And Hyundai actually plans to buy 30,000 units by 2028, which means that the actual factory work will start to get affected by AI in the, I would say, the next 10 years. One thing to consider is that creating these robots is still very resource intensive. It's actually still in the early stages. So the major shift and the doomsaying and all of this is, oh, careful. It's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But this is the bell of the apocalypse. So currently Meta is down 20%, Snapchat down 25%, General Motors 10% of the IT. Oracle is planning to lay off another 20 to 30,000 people. Amazon laid off 16,000 people in January. It is just bloodbath in the world of tech, which is the most affected by AI. Now towards some more positive or fun news. ByteDance released their research model Lens. I think this is just a couple of hours old. Basically 6 tasks in one small model. Text to image, text to video, image edit, video edits, VQA for image and video. It is very, very, very small. It's just 3 billion parameters. You can easily run it even on a small consumer grade GPU. So if you are in the need of generating images and videos, this is a multi-model thing that can get you there quite comfortably, even on consumer hardware.
Do you have an example of quality?
I don't here in the presentation, but after spin up something. Yeah. In general, there is a benchmark for it, and it basically it competes with 20 billion parameter models. In the world of image generation and video generation, 20 billion is a lot, right? If we are talking LLMs with massive understanding of the world, physics, poetry, and everything else, we're talking trillions of parameters. But in the image world, a 20 billion parameter model is top of the class, and it's gonna eat your VRAM like crazy. So a 3 billion parameter model that can do equivalent task of a 7 to 20 is actually quite good. As far as I know, because it comes from ByteDance, it will not have like 6 fingers and all of these previous kinks. There are still very much present with other labs, even the Prism LM that we'll showcase later. But yeah, that's it. If you are in this business and you need to generate images and video, run Pod, spin this up, give it a go. Works with Comfy UI and all of your previous infrastructure. You can switch it and maybe lower your bill or increase the amount that you can generate per hour. Microsoft Trellis 2. This one I didn't check personally, but Let's go through it. They open source Trellis 2, a 4 billion parameter model that generates fully textured PBR material 3D models from a single image. MIT license for 512 times 512, so 512, it's 3 seconds on a H100. Now, not all of us have an H100. That's quite a big and beefy card. So I would assume that it's going to take quite a bit longer on a consumer grade hardware. The approximation will be at least 10x longer. But if you ask me, for a 3D model, that's actually not bad. This is an actual 3D model. Last week we covered Gaussian splats, which is another way of how to basically bring 3D to life. This is utilizing standard vectors and polygons. So it's a very, very, very Blender-like approach to how to generate 3D models out of an image. You can drag it into Blender, Unity, or Unreal. So if you're making a game or you're making something that is supposed to be a CGI flavored ad, absolutely usable. O-voxel representation is the innovation. It's instant optimization for directional conversion between meshes and voxels. Voxels are these tiny cube-like boxes. Very cool. Non-ISO surface extraction needed, milliseconds to seconds for conversion. 24 gigs of VRAM minimum. I mean, if you have 3090, I suspect that you might be able to run a quantized version of this. Theoretically, we are getting to a day and age where a singular NVIDIA 5090, 32 gigs, which I know it costs like $4,000 and it's really hard to get. But with one GPU like this, I suspect in like 6 months, you won't need to pay for any subscriptions. If you can manage your work, that one GPU will be plenty. Now, what will it do to your power bill? I don't know, but you don't have to pay for subscriptions. You can have everything local. And quick hits, pet translators, robot barbers, and more. PettyChat is the AI pet translator. Hangzhou startup Meng Xiaoyi, I think. Thank you. I don't know how to read that correctly. Created this 27-gram collar, which uses Qwen, our favorite AI lab, for $118. They already had 10,000 pre-orders. They basically claim about 95% accuracy translating pet sounds. Independent research caps multimodal animal emotion detection at 89 to 92%, which is actually quite mental if you ask me. Like, if with 90% accuracy I can know what my dog is saying when he barks, that's crazy. Chinese social media is calling it a human intelligence test. Basically, you can start communicating to your animal, which is very cool. But if your cat is screaming at 3 a.m., the translation is always the same. Feed me or suffer. China basically doesn't wait for the West. They are utilizing their robots quite heavily. Maybe you've seen some videos of them practicing Kung Fu or dancing on the stage as a backup dancers. But now they started with robotic barbershops. And you basically scan your face, pick a style, sit down, and they get to cutting. I mean, with like a machine, okay, I guess. I don't know if I would be comfortable letting a robot with scissors like close to my eyes, or even with a razor. The one thing that you should take from this is that physical automation wave is definitely not waiting for the Western regulations. I come from Europe, and basically our leading exports towards the world is regulations. It takes us a long time to actually get something into production. By that time, it's usually safe, it's usually good, but we will be left behind, heavily left behind. Google Gemini Omni. This is a very cool piece of news. CapCut is being digested into the pipeline of video generation and editing with Gemini Omni. Gemini Omni is their new model that basically can generate videos out of everything. It's their next generation VO, it's their next generation sounds generation model. It's their next generation everything that is visual. It is actually pretty cool. Steve from our group generated some claymation videos explaining the AI and stuff. It was pretty cool. And now CapCut is being ingested into that process. Now, if you have something that can create very realistic videos, or even children cartoons or something similar, and you pair it with an editing software right in the one app, we are at the very beginnings of generating from start to finish in a 5-hour session. You can make your own cartoon, which is pretty cool.
You can ask this Omni CapCut to edit your material.
Yes, I know exactly what where you're going with that, because you had that same question for like 2-3 months now. Yes, this is the thing for you. So.
Yes and no. It cannot edit real faces yet. If it recognizes a human face, it will refuse to edit the video.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I didn't know. Thanks for that.
Because of what? The IP?
So a lot of softwares are now limiting anything face related in video generation still. YouTube is prohibiting using AI generated content that claims to be a real human, but AI generates. So you can generate something that looks like a human and use it, but if you're an actual person and having AI generate your videos, it is still forbidden with YouTube and CapCut and other AI generated videos. LLMs are forbidding it as well.
Does that mean AI influences we go?
So AI influencers are AI generated humans. So they're not, so if I want to use my actual face to edit my videos, and for instance, the background was very bad, and I want to generate a different background, the LLM will refuse to edit this for me. ChatGPT does do it, Gemini does not, for instance. So it really depends.
I reckon that could be for now.
Yes.
I know there are movements in Denmark to basically IP your own face and your own likeness.
Mm-hmm.
And if that goes through, and if it goes through Brussels, it usually happens to influence the whole world. Again, like AI regulation exporters. But yeah, in general, I think for now, it's gonna happen sooner or later. But yeah, I mean, eventually it will be everything or nothing. But to that point, if you are generating, if I remember correctly, you had some stories that you wanted to make into videos and have it edited in the same pipeline. So for that, it will be usable. It just won't be with you. But I think that's fine. I mean, I want to make cartoons anyways. And DeepSeek, this is the piece of news that I already shared. It is very cool, but because they entered their first funding rounds without any IPO timeline or revenue pressure, they basically just got money. So that's why they're subsidizing the heck out of it. It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. OpenAI loses 57 billion per year. They're trying to offset it with ads. It's mostly aimed towards users, so they're trying to monetize the traffic that otherwise would go stale. But in general, I think we're in a pretty good spot. If you're building something right now, the likelihood of your project succeeding is non-zero. I don't know when we are going to get to a stage of zero. Everything becomes hyper-personalized, but for now, we are in a good spot. So definitely keep on pushing. And I think Oh no, we still have one more. We have the trending GitHub repos. So let's go through them. Inbox 0, a self-hosted AI email management. Hook in your favorite AI agent or raw API key. And it basically helps to triage your inbox. This is kind of useful because let's say Gemini can do it for you in a Gmail inbox. But if you want something that will be, for example, with a local model, such as myself, like I self-host stuff, I can actually hook it to this and have all of my emails on my private domain, in my private inbox, be triaged and selected by a local AI. So none of the data actually leaves my ecosystem. Claude Skill. This is the first attempt to basically, not first attempt, but one of the attempts to create a centralized registry for Claude skills. It is also compatible with Matt Pocock's skills. I think it was added there as well. Think of it as of a marketplace. If you don't have a skill for it, AI agent can go there, check some skills, download them, restart the session, and start the fresh one or restart its own runtime. Yeah, it's called Claude Skill Registry.
Anything different from the V0 skills?
It's just
Fair enough.
just another one, and that's kind of the case nowadays. You will, and it's a very good point. A lot more projects are being built around the same thing, whereas in the past we usually had one pathway to go, and that was it. And then everything else was like not popular, not utilized, poorly maintained, maybe 2 contributors, and the last update was 2 months ago. In today's day and age, because of the AI agents, if the maintainer is semi-decent or it's hooked to like CodeRabbit, Devin, or something that can vet the PRs, we're actually in a pretty good spot. Like you get to pick and choose your flavor. So yeah, it is similar, it's roughly the same. V0 is actually quite cool, and the things that folks at Vercel do, absolutely great. I'm a big fan of them. Big fan of the Zero Native, their Electron killer. It's cool stuff. Dozzle. It is currently trending on the GitHub Explorer. It's basically what would happen if I don't really want to live in the terminal and I actually want to have some nice overview of my Docker logs. Pretty much everyone who's building something, you're stuck in Docker. There is a container, and you have to send an agent to overview the logs because something breaks, and like it's a very cumbersome and clunky. This helps you ease the process a little bit. And a Planotator, it is an annotation and planning tool. It is trending in the GitHub charts. Basically, it's a visual project planning with AI-assisted annotation. There are also like plethora of similar projects. Some of them we've covered. If you want to start planning and if you want to go from zero to a finished project, usually start with things like either from Matt Pocock's skills. There is a skill called Grill Me. A Grill Me can basically start giving you questions about what you want to build, how you want to build it. It looks into all of the pathways that are splitting at certain checkpoints, and it helps the AI to actually write down some of the decisions beforehand so the development process is smoother. Another notable entry is SpecKit from GitHub. It helps you create a proper specification documentation for whatever you're building, or one of the famous projects that was covered like half a year ago, 8 months ago, BMAT method, which goes super deep. It is super comprehensive. It generates the best possible documentation for your project that you can have. So you have the best possible footing to start actually developing something. Notable entries once you get after this point, this is something that came, I think, out of Claude Labs, like Anthropic Labs, is to start generating more and more Claude.md and agents.md and start placing them in individual subfolders. So even if you're creating a marketing campaign or something similar, a singular point is not enough. Frontier models nowadays work the best if the granulation is there, because they always treat Claude.md and agents.md as the highest authority for wherever they're currently working. And because I don't know about Codex CLI, but at least in Claude Code's case, it can dynamically change the working folder from, let's say I started in my folder called marketing, and I moved into a specific marketing campaign. It can change the work folder, but that means that if it's in this work folder, it only has the original ClaudeMD somewhere in the context. Like, it needs to be refreshed, especially across compactions, especially across like new sessions, the cross memory that all of these labs recently put into play. It's like, oh, I remember our previous conversation. Oh, I know what you are talking about with a different agent and a different window. Like, that is not 100% there yet. And it honestly even couldn't, because you need that context. You need that workspace that you have with your agent within one session to be as direct as possible for the task at hand. So a lot of ClaudeMD files, try to granulate them per folder, and at that stage, basically, you can comfortably start developing your project. Afterwards, there are very notable skills like superpowers that help you. It's literally called superpowers that help you better verify the integrity of the project and actually go through that path. And if you have OpenAI subscription, one of the better tools that I can recommend, especially towards the end tail of your project, to verify everything and to go into detail around bugs and like unexpected behavior, it is Pilot. It is really hard to find because it's on GitHub, it's a CLI, but it's specifically and purposefully made to go through the bugs and go through the entire debugging process of your app. So I think that'll be it for today. Some of the things that you can do this week: try DeepSeek Reasonix, especially if you are into testing new stuff, playing around. Connect it to a DeepSeek AI API for like $10. I think it's a decent enough sample to see if it works for you or it doesn't. You can reprice your AI workloads using DeepSeek V4 Pro. And I'm not a shill for DeepSeek. It's just, it is there. And unless you try, you never know if your day-to-day is better off with something that's way cheaper. The largest bit of news that hit us, I think it was 2 weeks ago, is that Claude dropped the support of subscriptions through Agents SDK and Claude-P. Even if you're not familiar with the matter, if you are using some self-hosted app or even some managed apps, a lot of them were using this. Like a vast majority of cool stuff that you could have done, your OpenClaw, your NanoClaw or Claw agents you might have had, everything that was using Anthropic was using either Claude-P for a non-interactive session through terminal or their Agents SDK. Now that that support is dropped and everybody in the world kind of gravitated towards Claude, you are left scrambling. A huge portion of people, at least that I know of, went over to the OpenAI side because they allow to use and utilize the subscription, one $200 plan, all of your AI needs covered. Pretty sweet deal. But if you're paying for the API cost, or if you are about to, because you don't want to go to OpenAI, it's completely fair. Give this a go. Maybe it will help you save the money if the quality of output is good enough for you. You can install Dozzle for your Docker stack. I know for a fact that I will. If you have a GPU, and I don't know that many people here in Chiang Mai that actually have a GPU. Everybody in the world has just a MacBook or something similar. Very few people have a proper PC here. But if you have a GPU, try this, especially if you are in game development or you're making ads. It could dramatically help you creating CGI effects and similar stuff. If you have some time, because it's 42,000 words, which is, I mean, it's too long for me to read. Like, I'll probably let my AI read that. Read the Pope's encyclical for what's going to happen with the world in the era of AI. And without further ado, I think that'll be it from this week's news. Right now, I would like to invite you. We are going to split into smaller pots, so it's actually manageable to talk about stuff that we want to talk about and share some experience. I'm going to leave some of the questions or some topics out here on the screen. And also, we do have a WhatsApp group that all of the people over here that came in person can join. I'm gonna leave it here on the table with the QR codes. If you want to join, you can scan it. We do share some news over there, and that's pretty much it from me. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. And let's split up and let's talk about the stuff that actually interests us in this AI world. All right. What's up?
Say you have YouTube channel. Say you have YouTube channel.
Oh, that's all right. I put it in the group every time before.
Slides posted somewhere so we can just reread them, or
Yeah, I will drop them. I'll drop them into the group. Yeah, it will be in the group. It's in the JSON format because that's what my site eats. But I'll give you a link here so you can replay them the same way as I play them here.
so you generate this presentation from the JSON format?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, I have like a parser. It's actually quite cool.
It's all JSON.
There is like
It's
a
even moving, no?
yeah, there is like a pixel field for a camera. I mean, if there are even like tech templates, it's not the best iteration, but it's like good enough. If you're hosting a group or you want to have something to present, I created one solution to transcribe and translate that I still need to finish properly, but it will have a presentation element in it. I want it to run 100% locally off of the Metal, or like the native Apple translation engine and transcription. Yeah, over here. So that will eventually be ingested into a standalone app. I just want to have people, to have a decent software.
So you did this one, or?
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it still has some bugs and kinks, but
So wait,
it's good
how
enough.
does it work if I move my hand?
Oh, this specific thing is actually from Aceternity. And if you're building websites or some cool web-based products, let's call them, this is a pretty cool component library.
I have used a couple of them from here.
Yeah, they have hero sections. These are more templates, but yeah, so illustrations like that. Login and sign up screens. It's pretty easy to actually just, and this is the webcam pixel grids. This is their iteration. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool guys. And they also have like this section, I think the templates you can buy. That's how they fund the entire thing. But everything else is basically just, you can just grab all of the code from there. When I was building websites, I was utilizing them quite heavily because they really do have some smooth elements. One thing that I wanted to show, just give me a sec.
So, quick question, like from your experience,
Yep.
from like we can only see where we're heading in the next 5-10 years, being everything agentic and automated and all that. So where is the future mode? What is going to be a future bottleneck? What is going to be like? What are companies are going to be fighting for in people? What qualities or what skills can you have that cannot be automated except the soft skills?
Highly philosophical question. We went through it multiple times, and general consensus, if I have to boil it down to like simple statement, it was mostly tribalism, so human-to-human connection. Because at the end of the day, you can have the best software in the world. If no one knows about you, you won't sell. You can have the best possible solution to a problem XY, but if you're a dick and nobody really wants to work with you, it will just sit there, right? So we're still very much in the era of you have to be a kind person, you have to